What is up, everybody? I wanted to come to you guys tonight with my AEW review. So let's get right into it. To start off the show, we have the in-ring debut of FTR versus the Butcher and the Blade to kick off AEW tonight. This was a really good match between the Butcher and the Blade and FTR. This was a really good tag team match to start off the night for AEW. I really did like this match. It was decent for what it was. It wasn't the best match by no means, but it was a decent to it was a pretty decent tag team match to start off AEW with the Butcher and the Blade versus FTR. They made their in-ring debut tonight on AEW. But this was a really decent tag team match between the Butcher and the Blade and FTR tonight to kick off AEW. This was a pretty decent tag team match, man. These two tag teams put on a decent match. It wasn't the best tag team match, but it was decent for what it was. It was alright. I liked it. I thought it was a fun match. The wrestling pace was there. The storytelling was there in this tag team match with the Butcher and the Blade versus FTR to kick off AEW tonight. This was a really decent tag team match. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It kept my attention. Both these tag teams worked very well together in the ring. Both put on a great match. Both tag teams put on a great wrestling tag team match tonight on AEW to kick off the show. So AEW started off the show with the Butcher and the Blade versus FTR. They made their in-ring debut tonight on AEW. So this was a really decent tag team match tonight to start off the night for AEW with the Butcher and the Blade versus FTR in their in-ring debut tonight on AEW. This was a decent to really decent tag team match tonight to kick off AEW. Both of these tag teams worked really well inside the ring together. Told a great story. The pacing was there. They had great storytelling. The Butcher and the Blade and FTR worked really well together inside the ring tonight. Both put on a really decent tag team match to start off the night for AEW. And FTR ended up picking up their debut win against the Butcher and the Blade tonight in their debut on AEW. So congratulations to FTR on picking up the win over the Butcher and the Blade in their in-ring debut tonight on AEW. So that's really cool. But the Butcher and the Blade versus FTR was a really decent match, man. If there was one tag team match I would go back and watch tonight on AEW, it would be FTR versus the Butcher and the Blade. I would go back and I would rewatch this match again because it was really decent. I liked it. It was a fun match. It kept my attention. So the Butcher and the Blade versus FTR was really decent. It kept my attention. It was a fun match. I liked it. I thought it was a really decent match. And the FTR picked up the win against the Butcher and the Blade in their in-ring debut tonight on AEW. So congratulations to FTR picking up the win over the Butcher and the Blade to kick off the night for AEW. So very decent tag team match to start off the night for AEW tonight with FTR versus the Butcher and the Blade. And then we had a segment with FTR and the Young Bucks. This was a really awesome segment with FTR and the Young Bucks. I really loved this segment between FTR and the Young Bucks tonight on AEW. This was another awesome. This was awesome, man. This was a really good segment tonight between FTR and the Young Bucks tonight on AEW. I really love this segment, man. I can't wait to see FTR versus the Young Bucks on AEW. I think those two tag teams are going to tear the house down when they eventually get to wrestle each other. I think those two tag teams are going to put on a really good match. I'm really looking forward to that. So the FTR and the Young Bucks had a really good segment tonight on AEW. And then we had a segment with Britt Baker I'm kind of warming up to Britt Baker just a little. I'm kind of becoming a fan of hers little by little. I'm starting to become a fan of Britt Baker. She had a really good segment tonight on AEW as well. So really good segment with Britt Baker tonight on AEW. I like I said, I'm slowly becoming a fan of Britt Baker. So Britt Baker had a really good segment tonight on AEW. And then we had a mixed tag. We had a six women's tag. We had a six-way tag team women's match tonight on AEW with Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford and Nyla Rose. This was a pretty decent women's tag team match tonight on AEW. This was pretty decent. I thought it was alright for what it was. It wasn't the greatest women's tag team match, but it was alright for what it was. It didn't really keep my attention. This match was decent. It wasn't the best women's tag team match that I've seen, but it was alright for what it was. I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, I didn't really get into it. I mean, I didn't really pay that much attention to the match, but it was alright for what it was. I thought it was okay. And Penelope Ford and Nyla Rose ended up picking up the win over Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida, your AEW Women's Champion. This was an alright women's tag team match on AEW tonight. It wasn't the best women's tag team match, but it was just a get me over women's tag team match. It was decent for what it was. And Penelope Ford and Nyla Rose pick up the win against Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander tonight on AEW. And then we had a segment with we had a backstage segment with QT Marshall and Cody and Dustin Rhodes. So we had a Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall backstage segment. This segment was alright. It didn't really do much for me, but it was alright. And then we had a backstage segment with Colt Cabana. I'm not a Colt Cabana fan, so there you go. And then we had Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. We had Sammy Guevara versus Colt Cabana. I'm sorry, guys. We had Sammy Guevara versus Colt Cabana. Sammy Guevara ended up picking up the win over Colt Cabana in a really throwaway match. I didn't really care about this match with Colt Cabana and Sammy Guevara tonight on AEW. It was just kind of a throwaway match, so there you go. And then we had a segment with Darby Allin. Darby Allin's segment was really awesome tonight on AEW. We had a segment with Darby Allin hanging out with Tony Hawk. That was really cool. So it's really cool that that Darby Allin is getting to hang out with Tony Hawk. That's really cool. So we had a really cool segment with Darby Allin and Tony Hawk tonight on AEW. This was a really awesome segment, man. I'm a Darby Allin fan, and I'm also a fan of Tony Hawk as well. So this segment with Darby Allin and Tony Hawk tonight on AEW was pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was really awesome. So really awesome segment with Darby Allin and Tony Hawk tonight on AEW. And then we had best friend. We had Santana and Ortiz. We had Santana and Ortiz and Jake Hager versus the Best Friends. This was an alright 6-man tag team match for what it was. There was nothing to write home about in this 6-man tag team match tonight on AEW with Santana and Ortiz and Jake Hager versus the Best Friends. This match was okay for what it was. It was an alright 6-man tag team match. I thought it was alright. I didn't really care for it. It was decent. It was just alright and decent for what it was. There was nothing to really write home about during this 6-man tag team match between the Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz and Jake Hager. This match was alright to decent. There was nothing to really write home about. And the Best Friends ended up picking up the win over Santana and Ortiz and Jake Hager. tonight on AEW. This match was decent to alright. There was really nothing to write home about. And the Best Friends pick up the win over Jake Hager and Santana and Ortiz tonight in a decent to alright 6-man tag team match tonight on AEW. And then we had a MJF and Billy Gunn segment, which I didn't care for. I'm a huge fan of MJF as a heel. I've already said that on my AEW, on my other AEW on my other AEW review that I did, uh, just a few days ago on my channel. I'm really a fan of MJF as a heel. I like him as a heel. The dude is an awesome heel. But MJF and Billy Gunn had a kind of a really throwaway segment, which I didn't care for. Then the inner circle ends up taking out the inner circle ends up taking out the Best Friends. So there you go. And then we had a backlot brawl with Jon Moxley and Brian Cage. This was really awesome. This was a really awesome backlot brawl between Brian Cage and Jon Moxley tonight on AEW. This was really awesome, man. I really like this backlot brawl between Jon Moxley and Brian Cage. I thought this was really awesome, so I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was well done. So we had a awesome backlot brawl tonight on AEW between Jon Moxley and Brian Cage tonight on AEW. And then we had the main event. We had the main event which was Cody versus Mark Quinn for the TNT Championship. This was an alright main event of AEW tonight between Cody and Mark Quinn for the TNT Championship tonight in the main event of AEW. This was a pretty decent match. It was nothing special. It was alright for what it was. It was just an alright match. It didn't really do anything for me, but it was alright for what it was. These two, Cody took advantage of Mark Quinn's injured ankle. That was the story of the whole match, of Cody working on the injured ankle of Mark Quinn during the match. That was the focus of the story in the match, of Mark Quinn's injured ankle. And Cody picked the ankle of Mark Quinn, and Mark Quinn ended up tapping out to Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes retains the TNT Championship in the main event of AEW to retain his TNT Championship. So, if there were things I would refer to you guys go back and watch tonight, go back and watch the tag team match with the FTR versus the Butcher and the Blade. Go back and watch that. I think you guys will enjoy that. And go and watch the Britt Baker segment. I think you guys will enjoy that. And go back and watch the segment between the Young Bucks and FTR. Go back and watch that segment as well. I think you guys will enjoy that segment. And go back and watch the Darby Allin segment. I think you guys will enjoy that. That was an awesome segment as well with Darby Allin and Tony Hawk tonight on AEW. So go back and check out that segment tonight on AEW with Darby Allin and Tony Hawk. And go back and watch the backlot brawl between Jon Moxley and Brian Cage tonight on AEW. Go and check that out. I think you guys will enjoy that as well. And those are the things I enjoyed. There was nothing other than that I liked tonight on AEW. So I'm gonna go 3 out of 10 for the thing. I'm gonna go 3 out of 10 for the segments that I liked tonight on AEW. Other than that, AEW was just an overall 3 out of 10 show. There was really nothing on this show that did anything to really surprise me. It was just your ordinary run-of-the-mill show. They didn't really do anything to, surprise me or do anything out of the ordinary. So I think AEW right now just kind of, they're not really doing anything to bring them up to oh my God level. So AEW is just a 3 out of 10 show. It was 3 out of 10. The only things I liked was the Butcher and the Blade versus the FTR tag team match. I liked the Britt Baker segment. I like the segment between the Young Bucks and FTR. I like this segment with Darby Allin and Tony Hawk, and I like the I like this and I like the I like this I like the segment with John Moxley and Brian Cage in their Backlight Brawl. I like that. Other than that, there wasn't much to tonight. Tonight was just your ordinary run-of-the-mill show. So I'm going to give AEW a 3 out of 10 because that's what I thought about. AEW overall is a 3 out of 10 show. You know, it was all right. I didn't really care for the show all that much. And so, guys, if you guys like this AEW review, make sure you hit that like button. And, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And turn on that bell for all notifications. That way you guys won't miss an upload or a live stream on my YouTube channel. So hit that bell for all notifications on my YouTube channel. I'd appreciate it. And, guys, tell me what you guys thought about AEW tonight down in the comment section below. Let me know your guys' thoughts on what you guys thought about AEW tonight down in the comment section below. So, yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching this AEW review tonight. I really do appreciate it. And I want to say thank you again to everybody's continued love and support on the channel. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a blessed night. I love you guys. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend heading forward. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I love you guys. You guys have a great night. Stay blessed. Look out for each other. And just remember, guys, take care of each other. And I will talk to you guys later. I'm out. Peace.